Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, hope we can convince you to subscribe and stay. Well, today we're out wandering around on adventures and we're at Hargham All Saints Church. Now I know in the title it says Hargham or Hargham. Trust me, the local pronunciation is Hargham. I fell into that pocket a few times. It took me a while to realise what these weird Norfolk people were on about. So, I have ye notes written down. So, as you may or may not know, Norfolk does actually have, get the camera level, that might help, more ruined churches than any other county in the UK. And also many that have survived despite there being no particular reason for it. We like our old buildings, so we try and keep them. Plenty that were ruined before being saved or restored, and a lady, Billa Harrod, had a lot to do with a lot of that. We'll hear more about her later. And along with various local donations, the Norfolk Churches Trust, Lady Harrod worked fairly tirelessly to make sure some of our old churches remained about. Oh, we have a Wild Mary. Now this particular church, where were we? We're losing the track. Now, Norfolk also boasts two dioceses, however you pronounce it, and has declared more churches redundant than most other counties in the 70s, 80s and onwards, but hardly any have since fallen to ruin or become private homes, which does happen fairly regularly. Now, Hargham All Saints was already a ruin. The western bays of the nave collapsed. Have a look at this and I'll tell you all about it later. Quite interesting. Have the priest's door. Flintstone wall. So where were we? And the western end of the nave collapsed in the 18th century. It was never rebuilt, which is where we're coming to now. If you're wondering why there's a big gap between the actual church and the tower. There was a fairly major restoration to the chancel in the 19th century, but by the 20th century the whole place was basically a ruin. We're going to go in the tower in a bit. It was rescued in the 1970s by local couple, Clifford and Jacqueline Amos. Cliff being a builder, he restored the integrity of the chancel and remnants of the nave, and they still maintain the property to this day. Oh, got a deer. Oh, it's gone. And here we can see Clifford's work, where he, as far as I understand it, basically rebuilt this entire wall, or built this entire wall from scratch, using existing stone, etc. that was on the property. Now, I actually know Clifford. He is part of the Attleborough Heritage Society that I'm also in. Obviously this place dates back a fair way. 1815, 1819. Ground is rather soft, molehills. So it's a beautiful place to be. Just outside of Attleborough, although a bit further than you might expect, as Hargham is a tiny little village. On the outskirts of Attleborough, it actually joins it. But from the centre of town, this is 3 miles away, hence why I didn't walk down here on my own and came here with Mary. Now, the tower, unfortunately, is not under the charge of Clifford or Jacqueline. It is up to the church's trust and various grants and funding, which are proving harder and harder to get hold of, hence why it's still in a fair state. Now, Lady Billerharad has actually visited here, and much to the Amos's surprise, while she was here, she didn't just do what you'd expect a lord or lady to do, which is look and go, oh how pretty, we must save this. Yes, we are in a rural area. I'm trying not to point the camera at the one house close by. And when she actually came into the church, which is unfortunately locked at the moment, but hopefully at some point in the future I'll be able to get in and have a good scooch about. Yeah, so when she turned up, she didn't just do the, oh how quaint, how pretty. She actually got on her hands and knees and helped clean the floor, which you probably won't be able to see anything through the windows because they're a little bit manky. They kind of remind me of my windows at home. Hey, I don't look out of them very often. Now, the nave itself, which is pretty much what's here, is a single narrow bay separated from the chancel, which is this end, by a low white screen with 19th century stenciling, which is only found in a few churches in Norfolk now. It's mostly all gone, painted over, etc. The interior is mostly Victorian with some medieval survivors. The south window has a splayed image niche with cusped canopies. In the sill beneath is a piscina. Yes, piscina. Which shows that the nave also was originally planned for the place. And this is the general storage room, obviously. Excuse me, I just swallowed a bug. That really doesn't taste good. And excuse the wind as well. And as we saw at the start-ish, that tiny little hole in the wall is actually called a squint, because you have to squint to look through it. So here's the south, I believe, window. Yeah, I'll probably get my directions wrong. But the squint was there because they believe there may have been a hermitage built on the side of the church, around about here, and it would allow the priest in the hermitage to be able to see straight through. Here we are again, try not to fall over. So the priest would be able to see straight through there, in theory, although the glass in the middle is blocking the view somewhat, and see the altar from within the hermitage. It does kind of make sense that there would be something, because the wall is kind of shaped like it should be. So we have a flying buttress. I do like that word. Like a mattress but with a butt. And the difference in heights between the chancel and the nave. Long range on the tower. Now, the majority of the graves here are old. Old, as we've seen and said. And there is, how can I put it, family plots. So there are, I've seen a lot of my hills, a lot of beagles, some Saunderses, and all sorts. Obviously we have a fairly healthy population of birds around here, looking underfoot. But here we are inside the tower, where unfortunately you can see probably some local kids have been setting fires, not to burn it down or anything like that, just having a fire, because you know, kids like campfires. And as we scan up around the inside of the tower, hoping that nothing flies over and poops on us. And back to the doorway into the church. As you see, we can see the ends of the walls where they collapsed, or whatever happened. It's kind of strange for just the middle part to collapse without the tower, so I'm half inclined to say maybe a lorry went through it or something like that. But now there aren't any recordings. I haven't found anything about ghosts, the paranormal, anything like that. Not to say there isn't anything. I've not felt anything in my time here. We've been here maybe 30 minutes. It is midday on a Sunday, so it's not a surprise. But I've not felt anything negative either, so that's always a good sign. And as you say, we are in the middle of the Norfolk countryside, and I'm walking carefully because there are graves everywhere. And I don't particularly want to fall into one. So we have a rather large tomb over here. If you're hearing other footsteps, don't worry, that's Mary. I'm not being followed about. You might be able to read the inscriptions better than I can at the moment. The lowest one was 1836, and I'll try not to go base over apex. And the top one looks like an 1820 to me. So as you can see, it goes back a fair way. Now the reason there's a lot of wood and stuff on the ground around here is a couple of weeks ago we did have a couple of big strong Atlantic storms come through, and obviously these things don't get cleared up overnight, but they will be. And I'm sure that once all these trees are in full leaf, as we are basically on the outskirts of Hargham Woods, this is going to be a beautiful place in the summer. And it's beautiful enough now with all the daffodils, the snowy drops, and everywhere I step there are foxgloves. Foxgloves. That looks like a second year one, I mean, not a first year. Yes, geek, I know. But anyway, thank you very much for staying with me for this long. Hope you've enjoyed, maybe learnt a little, or at least just enjoyed a wander around a historic church ruin in the Norfolk countryside. Don't forget to do the like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Become a member if you want. But whatever you do, have fun, stay safe, peace out, and yeah, we won't do that one. Bye bye.